This map compares the Human Development Index of each US state and each European country. In case you don't know, the HDI is the geometric mean of life expectancy, education, and...
Hey! Hey now!
I guess...
But it's only us in Lithuania though.
From when is this video? 2 years ago. Oh, no, we are not yellow.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
It's Weronika.
Wait, I wanted to say, not hello everyone, but hello you.
Just what if there's...
This person that is watching right now.
Okay, but what if there are two people watching
You are
together?
beautiful. You are great.
Are you cheating on me?
So you should subscribe.
Are you cheating on me?
No, I'm getting subscribers for our channel.
What if there are two people watching together?
Sneaky way.
Is only one of them beautiful?
Yes. Guess who? Steering the pot.
So my name is Weronika.
Yes, they don't. They can read that in the description.
Your name is what?
I said it's Waldemar.
I don't think you said it this time. And today we are watching a video called How Do Europe and the United States Compare. I have not seen it. Waldemar found it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one too. I just seen the people reacting to it, so I thought...
What channel is it by?
What?
What channel is it by?
General knowledge.
Okay. Interesting. So I guess there's...
Interesting.
I guess there must be...
Knowledge?
Yeah, there must be like a lot of different videos about different subjects.
Yeah, I guess it's this style of video that they are making, you know, hand on the piece of paper and they're creating drawings.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah, I thought it would be interesting because we have a lot of subscribers from the United States, we have a lot of subscribers from Europe, and, you know, it's interesting subject, the similarities and the differences between those two continents. Sure. And we have, you know, people in the comment section, so we can share our experiences, and you can share it. We can read them. I mean, we can comment too, but mostly we can read them.
Mostly we can read them, but we can also comment, yeah.
Let's begin.
Europe. One continent, 44 countries, according to the UN, and 746 million people. The United States are part of North America, only one country with 329 million people, less than half of Europe. The United States are often compared to the European Union or Europe as a whole a lot of times. So in this video I thought it would be interesting to take a look at a few indicators and check how it is that they in fact compare. We've already covered a few of the basics, amount of countries and population, but what about size? The United States have an area of around 9.8 million square kilometers, while Europe has a size of around 10.5 million. Although this can...
You can ask every European you would like. You can go on the street and ask them to draw borders of Europe. I think if you didn't find a geography teacher by a chance, they will not do that. I mean, no one knows. Do you know?
No, I can draw the borders of Poland though.
Yeah, because, you know, there is like some of Russia is in Europe, but not all of it. There is the...
Oh, I thought you meant like draw the shape from memory.
No, I meant where it begins.
No, then I know more than Poland, because I just meant that I can draw the shape of Poland from memory. I can't draw the shape of Europe. But yeah, to just like point on the map when there are no political, it's not a political map, then yeah, indeed, it is difficult to say
because
where
the border is somewhere on the Ural Mountains in Russia.
Where are they? I think it just goes along the mountain.
Yeah, but there is not like I don't think there is like certified border. Here is Europe, here is Asia. It's all very like, and when there is like for the football, if the European Cup, it's called Euro, and every 4 years that we have teams like Israel for some reason, Azerbaijan.
Also Turkey is strange.
Yeah, Turkey also.
Sometimes it's in Europe, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah, depends on what we are talking about. Yeah, so complicated. Yeah, much easier with the United States.
Yeah, and the borders
vary
that are
depending
just...
on which limits you attribute to the continent. So now that we've covered all of those, vary depending, while Europe has a size of around 10.5 million. Although this can vary depending on which limits you attribute to the continent. So now that we've covered all of those basics, let's jump into a few specific indicators and find out how the two compare. First, comparing the latitude. It's very interesting to see the overlay of the European cities on top of the US territory and vice versa. For instance, as stupid as it may sound, I had no idea Reykjavik was as further north as northern Canada. The same applies to Oslo. It makes sense that Portuguese and Spanish cities are on the same level as California, at least climate-wise, but it's weird, for instance, that Ankara is at the same level as Delaware. For some reason, I always thought it was so much further south. It's also strange to see that Los Angeles is on the same latitude as Algeria in North Africa, or that New York is at the same latitude as Azerbaijan. Speaking of Portugal, Spain, and California, how do the US and Europe compare when it comes to the hours of sunlight they get every year? Through this map, we understand that the Southwest USA gets more hours of sun than anywhere in Europe, over 3,500 a year. And unlike Europe, there's nowhere in the US that gets less than 1,800 hours of sun, as is the case in many areas of Europe, those in light green, blue, and dark blue. It's also odd, at least to me who isn't an expert on this matter, how the amount of hours of sun isn't directly related to the latitude of the region. I always assume that the closer to the equator you are, the more hours of sun you get, but we can see on this map that this isn't the case at all, even though we can tell that usually southern areas get more sun. If you know which other factors determine hours of sun, let me know in the comments. Another interesting topic is human development. The United States and Europe are arguably two of the most developed areas of the world. This map compares the Human Development Index of each US state and each European country. In case you don't know, the HDI is the geometric mean of life expectancy, education, and...
Hey! Hey now!
I guess...
But it's only us in Lithuania though.
From when is this video? 2 years ago. Oh, no, we are not yellow. I mean...
But what does yellow mean though? Because look, it's just us in Lithuania.
But it's below green and it's over the orange. So we are better than like Hungary, Slovenia, and Yugoslavia. And now we have unsubs.
Oh, but we're just one level below Russia? I'm not so sure.
And we are worse than Czech Republic.
We are worse than Czech Republic. That does make sense. But I'm not sure, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure we are on the same level that Slovakia is.
Yeah, I think we are somewhere in between. I think Czechia and Slovakia.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Can we add more nuance
and
colors to this map?
There is only one state that is on the same level as Poland. And what is this? Is it like...
I have no idea what it is.
Is it like a Mississippi or Alabama? It's either Mississippi or Alabama, isn't it?
I don't know. The shapes are not... I mean, I know them, but
But you know all the states.
I know all the states, yes.
Do you want to brag?
No, I don't, because then I'll get performance anxiety. You have to take my word for it.
But it's either Alabama or Mississippi, I think. Well...
I should, next time that I practice them, because I try to say them in my head a lot so I don't forget, I should just look at the map so I also know where they are. But yeah, I was going to say, if you can please make this map with add like at least 5 more shades, so then we can have a shade between Slovakia and Czech Republic and we are not offended anymore. That would be great.
Gross national is calculated as the geometric mean of life expectancy, education, and gross national income per capita. Assuming that those indicators are representative of the quality of life of people, it seeks to measure precisely that. In the United States, there's only one state that doesn't make it into the top 3 HDI categories, Mississippi. When we look at Europe, really only a handful of countries are in the top ranking: Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Ireland, Denmark, Germany, Netherlands, and Switzerland. And when you look at Eastern Europe, these levels go significantly down, with many countries in the lowest category, such as Ukraine, Turkey, Serbia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Albania, and North Macedonia. In Western Europe, Portugal is the only country who isn't in the top 3 levels.
North Macedonia? Is that a new thing? Because I've always thought it was just Macedonia. Is there now North and South Macedonia now?
I think there is Macedonia and North Macedonia. No South Macedonia.
There is?
I think there is Macedonia and North Macedonia.
Okay.
but I might be wrong. But I know that there is no South
But it must have
Macedonia.
been quite a recent split, right?
I think it was during our lifetime,
Okay.
but I don't know when.
Okay. Because I remember from school there just being Macedonia. Interesting.
HDI. A somewhat subjective comparison of these two areas is also depicted in this other map. This is based in a 2014
Yeah, at least here we are not
It's
yellow.
almost 10 years old, so the data might be somewhat
yellow is
outdated
better.
and no longer valid. Always keep that in mind for these types of
Better.
videos where
Mhm.
data and maps are presented. The data might not be 100% right and it might be outdated. But in this one, people were asked if they are absolutely certain of God's existence. And the comparison of the results between the US and Europe is astonishing. The majority of US states have over 50% of people being certain of God's existence, some even surpassing 70%. Those in dark blue. Only Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts have results under 50%, while most of Europe is much less certain in their belief of God. Most of the continent is in yellow, with only 10 to 29% being certain of their belief. Portugal, Poland, Slovakia, Lithuania, and Ukraine, along with Bulgaria, go up to 30 or 49.
Wait a
What's the
second.
blue one at the bottom? Belarusia. I'm sorry, I'm ignorant, but I don't know what it is.
It's not Armenia?
As part of Europe?
There are two countries, I think.
Yeah.
And the one is Armenia, and the other is it Georgia?
Then why is it as part of Europe? Oh, maybe it was a bigger map and they just cut it out.
Yeah, because sometimes you include Armenia in Europe. Like Armenia is there are talkings about joining Armenia to join the European Union. So,
Okay.
like I said, there is the geographical borders and there are political borders, and they are not the same. But about this map, I'm like confused because in Poland, if you would ask people, then I think there is more than half of people who would say that the God exists, that they believe that the God exists. And I don't think that is the same case in Ukraine or Slovakia. I think
Poland is more religious.
we're the Pope, so we are more religious. And Poland is like currently the most, I think, Catholic country in the world. If there
Yeah,
were
and
some,
also
if there were some Islamic countries, then I would say okay, maybe.
But I do wonder what the group is that they ask, because even, when there was this poll a couple of years back, when you had to register where you live, and then you could also register what faith you are, and there was this big movement that if you are not actually of a faith, that you should not declare it, so that it actually reflects how many people are Catholic. And even in that one, it was still predominantly Catholic.
Yeah.
So where are they getting the data that we're not? Because no one was able to make people actually admit on the registry that they are not Catholic. But it says, are you absolutely certain that God exists? So maybe it's different than being
And
Catholic.
Italy is very low. Like Italy is like one of the most Catholic countries in the world.
But I think we missed it because they look at the question. Because the question isn't, do you believe in God? The question is, are you absolutely certain God exists? And there's a lot of people who are believers that when you ask them, are you absolutely certain? They will say, I'm not absolutely certain.
Maybe you're
So
right.
maybe that's different.
It's like maybe it's more of an American thing, being so confident that you
That's
every
another thing.
opinion
Yeah,
that you give is one, like with the seed. Only a seed deals with absolutes. So the seed and the American. There's always two of them, never more, never less.
The rest of the Balkans is more religious, but it's only Georgia and Armenia who reach the dark blue level. There's a few...
Georgia and Armenia.
Yeah, you're really good at the map. I never said you aren't. That's really, really good. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of myself too.
That's good. You should be.
You shouldn't shake my head like this.
Wait, but...
Okay. Enough. Calm down, girl.
more religious, but it's only Georgia and Armenia who reach the dark blue level. There's a few countries missing from this map, those in gray. If you have any idea of how religious they are, leave a comment below. Another interesting thing we can compare are age restrictions in the US and Europe. Age restrictions can be applied to driving, voting, tobacco, or alcohol purchases. Many of these change often, so be aware these might not be correct at the moment you watch. When it comes to driving, the US government allows people to drive at a much younger age. In South Dakota, it says you can drive at 14 years and 6 months? That's kind of crazy if it's true. The oldest driving age in the US seems to be New Jersey at 17, while in Europe, the vast majority of countries has a 18 years minimum driving age. Only the UK, Iceland, Hungary, and Georgia have lowered it to 17. When it comes to voting,
it's complicated. I cannot say about other countries, but in Poland you can have a driver's license when you are 16, but it's on this weird car, which is not really a car. It's under, I think, 500 kilograms.
Yeah, and it also cannot reach all the speeds.
Yeah. So, but it is unsupervised.
I would like to think that the
I think they're talking about normal cars.
14 and 6 months. I would like to think it's the same kind of car, and it's a smaller car that you can drive, and not every car.
I think it might be that it's a normal car, but they can buy guns, so why cannot drive the car?
But you can drive a car when you're 14 and a half, but you cannot have a beer until you're 21.
Yes.
Are you telling me that a child that has their own car and can go wherever they want? You will not
be a drunk driver.
But they can go wherever they want with no supervision. They could drive out of state. They could drive out of the country if they wanted to, but they're not allowed to.
No, because in all the country you cannot buy beer. That's one thing that they are certain of. And every state has different regulations, but about the beer, they are very strict.
It's ridiculous.
With the wheat, you can buy it in one state, you cannot in the other, but beer is illegal always.
18 is common all around. Only in Europe are there 2 countries that differ, Austria at 16 and Greece at 17, although I'm not sure if these limits are the same for all types of elections. Tobacco purchase is technically only allowed over 21 in all of the US, while in Europe you can buy it at 18. Alcohol purchasing is also forbidden for people under 21 all across the United States, with the limit ages varying a lot across Europe, but none being higher than 18 or 20, although again this also varies depending on the type of alcohol. For instance, in Portugal, I think you can
20, where is it? It's in the Lithuania. I didn't know that.
I also didn't know that.
20 for drinking. And I'm not sure about the cigarettes. Is it really the case everywhere in Europe?
Did everybody have to be 18 to buy them? I think so.
Yeah.
There are countries, now I'm looking at it, Germany? Some country would have been where you can buy already alcohol. You can already buy alcohol at 16, and you cannot buy cigarettes.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, but you can. Here it is. That you can buy some sorts of alcohol, but not all of them. You can buy like a weak beer.
Yeah, but also I thought that some of the countries like Bulgaria and Croatia also allowed buying beer when you're 16, but I don't see them here, so I don't know if it's my mistake or their mistake.
Maybe it's in the grey market.
Maybe.
Buy beer or wine as long as you're over 18, but other drinks do have a 20-year age limit, I think. When it comes to comparison between military, for instance, it's a difficult comparison to make. According to Wikipedia, the US Army has a personnel of around 1 million, counting active troops, reserves, and National Guard. And according to this 2018 article from Business Insider, the top 5 strongest militaries in Europe, all of these maps exclude Russia, are France with 390,000, the UK 280, Italy 267, Germany 200, and Spain 175. Together, these alone would surpass the US Army, although you'd still need to take into account the material advantage of the US. Ships, intelligence, tanks, planes, investment, and in these the US has a considerable advantage, as we can see from this graph depicting the investment comparisons. But thankfully most of Europe and the US are allied through NATO, so a comparison isn't needed because in the event of a conflict, it is very likely they would be on the same side. And what about an economic comparison? The United States and the European Union are the 2 largest economies globally in nominal terms. In recent years, only in 2011 did the European Union have a higher GDP than the US. Keep in mind this excludes non-EU Europe. The US's GDP per capita is 63,000, while in the EU it's 33. But keep in mind both of these are on average. There are EU countries and US states with higher and lower values. Also, as we can see from these maps, the US's GDP is mostly carried by California, Texas, Florida, and New York, while Europe's is mostly carried by France, Germany, the UK, Spain, and Italy. When it comes to currency comparison, as I make this video,
Spain has high GDP?
Yeah, I'm surprised too. But Spain is kind of a
poor
country. Maybe not very poor, but it's similar to Poland.
Well,
it's not
since
really...
the time that we started being the age that we could watch the news, I've only seen a decline. all the news you get about Spain is just the worst, with the job market getting worse and worse and worse. I'm sorry, guys, but that's, you know. And I had a lot of friends who wanted to go to Spain when we were in high school, and then most of them were like, okay, no, not anymore, because you can't get a job. So I didn't really know that it's still, maybe the people who are employed, they keep it at that.
No, but I heard that the salary is not that great.
Yeah, that's I also heard that. That's weird.
Maybe they transfer all the money to football, so that's why they have this big statistic that the people are poor.
€1 equals $1.07. The euro's value has been higher, and recently its value has decreased a little, approaching parity with the dollar.
Oh, it's much less
in
now.
this graph, there was only a short period in the early 2000s when the euro was worth less than the dollar. And there was a point where it was almost worth 50% more. Recently, things have stabilized and they're almost worth the same, but with Croatia joining the European currency next year, it might go up again. Also keep in mind, not all of Europe and not even all of the EU use the euro as their currency. Another interesting point to compare is the percentage of young people aged 18 to 34 that still live in their family's home, meaning in most cases that
You need to sit better because
sorry,
you
yeah.
will not be seen under the
You're right,
screen.
we went like this. It's like I'm really enjoying this video and all these facts. It's really nice. Are you?
And it's a lot of
It's
information.
a lot of information.
And I think if it's interesting for you, then great, guys. But I guess it may be too much posing for some of you.
I mean, at least we
But
give
it's
input about
this
everything.
kind of video.
Yeah. Okay.
do not yet have the financial stability to live on their own. Both of these maps have data from 2015, but from the most recent information I could find about this, the numbers haven't changed a lot.
Oh, look at Scandinavia. 4%. Only 4% after 18.
Yeah.
That's extreme. That's extreme considering they have... I wonder if they have a lot of students going abroad to study. But then all the countries do as well, because if you stay, you know, when I don't know, you live in Oslo and you study in Oslo, a lot of people do decide to stay at home, at least for a year or two. So until you're like, 20 and then you move out just to save money. So 4% seems like really not a lot, considering there must be people who stayed to study and learn in their own country.
But it's because of their, of their social politics about the housing markets.
I remember when we had people studying from Scandinavia and Scotland, they had such good socials. Like they were getting paid to study abroad. I don't. If you're from Finland or Norway or whatever, or Sweden, sorry.
And
Denmark.
Yes. And
there's something else. Norway, Finland, Sweden, Denmark. And that's everything.
I think kind of Iceland.
Is Iceland Scandinavia? I don't know.
They have a cross in the flag. They
I don't know. Let me know, guys. I would never consider it Scandinavia just because the language is different. I mean,
it's called the name and
I know, like there are different languages in
It's
Scandinavia.
like Finland, Iceland. They have a cross in the flag, so I guess Scandinavia.
What about Switzerland?
Scandinavia.
You have to commit.
Europe,
About
Nordic
Thailand.
countries have very recent information I could find about this. The numbers haven't
cross.
changed a lot. In Europe, Nordic countries have very low values. They're also the highest income areas, so it makes sense people can more easily afford to live on their own, but it might also have to do with the cultural element. In Southern Europe, the amount of young people still living at home is tremendous. 44% in Portugal, 37% in Spain, and 46% in Italy, for instance, while Greece, Bulgaria, and Slovakia are all above 50%. In the US, values are equally as high, with the difference being that there are no states at all below 10%. The lowest value is 14 in North Dakota, and the highest being in New Jersey with 46, although none surpass 50%. These high values are usually connected with the fact that salaries do not pay enough and the cost of living is way too high, both due to rising prices.
I just wanted to say that it's interesting when you remember the comparison of GDP that they just did, because it seems like it's not correlated at all.
Yeah, it's mostly
you
about
just
the
said it's-
renting prices.
Yeah, maybe.
If the housing market is not broken, as it is in some countries in Europe, like in ours, for example, then you are able to rent an apartment.
Oh, but I just noticed on this map it's quite different, because the one on the US it says 18 to 34, and on the Europe it says 25 to 34, which is quite different. Now I'm not so shocked it's only 4% in Scandinavia. It's still not much, but 25 is when you already finished studies. You see at the top? So it's not really a
here
fair
is
comparison.
25.34 and here is 18.34.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so that's much different. Because 25, you know, it's very often when you're already done studying.
Yeah, the numbers
And
would
also
be,
some
the
people
numbers
would-
would be
yeah.
much higher in Europe if it would be from 18 to 34.
That's why
Much
now
higher.
the 4% is not that much shocking because you do manage to move out after you finish. But I was just like thinking, you know, at 18 when you just finished studying, you just started studying. Okay, sorry, let's finish this.
Inflation, and also other factors. So that is how the United States and Europe compare in a number of indicators and interesting aspects. There's a lot of things you can compare the two in. If you know of any more, leave a comment and I can always make a part 2 of this. It's always difficult to be fair in these comparisons. After all, the United States are a single country and Europe has around 44, but if you take into account that the US are a federal state consisting of 50 states, the comparison makes a little more sense, especially when the size of the two is similar. As we can see on this interactive map, the size of the US over Europe is pretty close, and as you saw in the beginning, the number of square kilometers are pretty close as well. In many ways they are similar, but in so many other big differences are visible, many of which signifying a great difference in the way that people live their life and the quality that life has. Thanks so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you want to catch future videos and leave a comment below with your opinions. I will see you next time for more general knowledge.
Yeah, that was really nice. I really liked this video. It was interesting. He presented it in a quite clear way, and I think at least for us it was. I hope it was interesting for you guys as well to hear.
Yeah, but the infographics that he used were very random.
Yeah, but he did mention a couple of times on screen that he couldn't find a better one. So
Yeah. He was transparent about this. That's true.
Yeah.
And you know what he said at the end, comparing the United States and Europe. I mean, yeah, I know that US is the federal state. And you know, every state has its own laws, and that's good. I think most of the countries should work like that. I think it's the best system. If you can, it's easier to govern, you know, small amount of people than 1 billion people.
I think. Sorry,
yeah,
go on.
Yes, I want to say that it's different because you have the same language. That's the most important thing. You all speak the same language. You have one government, one president.
Not so many religions, like predominantly one religion.
I mean,
I think there is like over 50% for sure, right?
But what?
Christianity.
Christianity, yeah, but the Christianity is split on so many religions that you couldn't even count them. But yeah, mostly yes. But it's different, you know, with Europe because yeah, we are part of the European Union, but we don't speak the same language. We have different militaries. Different, you know, armies. Every country has its own. We don't have like shared European army. So every country, because of that, has its own goals. And sometimes, you know, your goal does not align with the goal of your neighbor. So we are a union, but it's not as strict of a union as it is in the United States.
Yeah, for sure. The differences are vast between different countries in Poland, in Europe. And I think what people also often forget is that most of European countries, they have districts as well. And they may be very different countries from one district to another. So it is kind of like United States. I won't say every country is as diverse as United States is within itself, but they are very diverse. Like even in Poland, you have 2 different dialects that are like 2 or 3.
Oh,
well, at least, yeah, but like even a different language, right? The one that's the official language, and you can have different regions that you know you are in a different.
Germany, for example, is a federal country too.
Yeah.
And every state in Germany also has its own laws. Yeah. But you wouldn't, you know.
Talk about Germany versus the rest of Europe because they are also a federal state. Yeah, so it's not exactly the same, for sure.
Yeah, we have some similarities, but it's much different, and it won't change. I mean, no amount of
globalization
and also like lobbying towards creating like a European
identity,
some sort of country, some sort of nation. It won't happen because it's not possible when you have so much multicultural countries, so much different, politics, with the West being much more secular and the East being much more religious, with the differences, economical differences. It's not possible for European Union to be similar creation
Yeah,
to United States.
It's just different history, different everything, like you say. Okay, thank you very much for watching this with us. If you have anything similar that you like us to, not the same, but the comparisons, we would like to watch more. Let us know if you find it interesting at all. I really found it interesting. I kind of want to look at it again.
I like those kind of videos too. With the infographics, they are very educational.
It's like two things, because it's interesting to see the comparison, but it was also, we didn't know all of this about Europe, like the ages in every country.
And also we have a lot to say about it, because we live here, so there's also more interesting for us, and I think the content that we create there
brings a bit more value.
Yeah, to you if you're watching this, because instead of us just having some opinions, we can give you some actual facts.
Okay.
Thank you for watching,
See
guys.
you next video.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.